So on this week's podcast, me and Gregor discuss the suppliers and how we're making the progress of finally purchasing our first product. We're also just to delve into Calum. Calum has finally came out the blue and spoke to us about what we're doing. Really interesting. What do you guys think? Listen now.
Jamie, this week you have been quite busy with finding out a bit more about suppliers' pricing. How is that going and what stage are you at?
Okay, so with the suppliers, I have been thinking about. Sorry, I was
I told you to talk slower, not less fluently.
that's fluent. So yeah, with the suppliers, basically what I've been doing is obviously looking into where we were doing it. We had the product. I was basically ready to buy last week. I think we were both from the last podcast we discussed. It was very much in the stage of let's buy, and I thought, okay, let's have a quick last look because it's quite a big decision. It's the start of spending our money. It was like we're thinking this is getting going, but what I ended up finding I came across was sort of like a collar plus the lead. So first we were just obviously getting the collar, but I saw an opportunity to get a lead, which would obviously add value, but for a small cost. The difference between just the collar and the lead is so
Yeah.
marginal that the value that could add to the product in a package deal could give us more opportunity. But not only that, instead of having one product now, we also have two now. So now that at that point we were like, let's, if that's good,
Yeah.
there's two different things. You could sell them separately or you could sell them together. It gives that opportunity. So, we can sell more. Obviously, from we've discussed, Gregor, you kind of highlighted the fact being like, I showed you the website, I showed you where the product was, talked to you obviously about the supplier and stuff, but you obviously says why we're not going for there's basically the supplier has a brown and a black, and you obviously highlighted the fact that, why we're not taking on a black one as well in the small product range. So, what I have done now is basically got a new quote, sort of coming through, works out at basically around about £15 per product. And what I'm going to do is and that was just for brown. What I'm going to do now is obviously get the quote for the black, because as a discussion, you obviously hide why we're not getting both, so we have that opportunity. So instead of having two products now, we now have four. Okay, so we've got two different colours of the collars and two different colours of the lead. And we can obviously do the package deal where you get them together, but it allows us to sell more than one product on our website. So instead of just being a one product website, which obviously we were sort of going for at first, we're actually going to increase it to four, which obviously increases the opportunity of a sale. So when someone comes to the website, there's more chance of someone just clicking to buy an individual product because they have more options. So yeah, that's where I'm kind of at. We're going to get the quote for this one, and we're quite happy with obviously the costings if they're around about the same, or if they're the same as the amount that we just got quoted for the 30 of just the brown collar and the brown lead. If it's the exact same, we're going to go ahead and get it ordered. Next thing sort of we want to talk about is obviously the shipping. Obviously getting that product here, I was like, okay, this seems really pricey. Like, how much is it costing us to get it shipped here? So I actually got given three different options. So you've got air, train, and truck. So it was like the three sort of different options the guy was sort of talking about and gave me the different options. As obviously air was very expensive because it's the fastest. So it worked out as $140 to get air travel, which means we'd get a product in 6 to 9 working days. If we were to get a product through our supplier in terms of a truck, it works out about 20 to 30 days, should I say. So a little bit quick, a little bit later, but cheaper. Okay, but the margin between that, I don't know about you, but I thought the margin between flight like air travel and truck is so small that it's like, why would you not just go for air? Like the price difference, it was worth about $30. I was like, why on earth would you not just go for $30 more to get that product quicker?
Yeah.
You can then sell it quicker and get everyone going. Why wouldn't you? It's marginal amounts. Works as a
Yeah.
pound a product or less than that because it's in dollars.
Mhm.
And then the last quote was for rail. Rail was the slowest, so rail worked out as 45 to 60 days, so nearly 2 months you could be waiting for the product to even get to you. This is one of the things I thought about this is even if you're going for, so say if you're going for air, it's going one place on a plane, flying over here, off and into a shipping container. Whereas I feel like with rail, I think you've got a higher chance of it going missing. You've got thieves that could go on the rail to open it up, try and get it. You've got large area to cover, but not different rail tracks. Maybe changing trains, different drivers. I feel like with that, there's a higher risk as well
Hmm.
because it takes longer. So, however, the margin for that is a lot cheaper. So it's less than 50% of the air travel. It's only $57. So
Okay.
it's really cheap. But I think for us, we're both going, we want to kind of get up and running. We understand we've been talking for the last couple of weeks about our supplying and getting this product, but we obviously want to make sure it's right. That's the reason why we've had these discussions multiple times, and we're getting to this stage because in any business, you want to be right first time. The last thing you want to do is make a load of mistakes and spend a load of money, and for us to have tons of issues. So we're making the safety assumptions of what we want to do and discussing it in the best way forward. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're looking at air travel just because it's the quickest. It's going to get us the soonest so we can actually get started and hopefully get the product out to you guys if you are interested in a dog collar and lead for your pet. But we're also just wanting to make sure that we're making the right stages forward so then you guys can obviously listen to us and hopefully learn for what we are doing and the process we're taking. So yeah, we've been a lot of regular sort of chats, Gregor, but I think that's probably where we're at. So we've got the product, we know what we're doing, we're waiting on our
Hmm.
final quote, and then if the quote is all good, we'll have it ordered this week, and hopefully come into sort of mid-December, the product will arrive, and we'll be ready to sort of get selling.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to. Yeah, it seems quite simple. I think on the outside, you just like buy, do a bit of research, then buy the product and get it delivered, and then try to promote it online. There's other things I try to think about as well. When you look at online, you see all the different other marketers and businesses promoting very similar products. It's how do they make themselves a bit different in the market, and like what is our USP? Kind of like USP, I feel like we're just relying on this AirTag element to the product. It's not really, the idea would be, I don't think there's too many sellers in the UK doing this. Also, we'll be the AirTag supplier of, well, the dog leads that are suitable for AirTags. The other side of it is a friendly, obviously efficient service online with posting, being fast and efficient, and being there for customers online as well through messaging channels. So yeah, which is maybe there is a gap there for it, but obviously we're just going to be testing it. The reason I bring this up, Jamie, is because I shared with you a sort of tweet that was going about online that came up on my timeline, all about
Yep.
this kind of person who's like in the market for creating kind of small ecom brands, so um, online based brands, and he had this formula to basically say this is how I make my businesses a success or play the game. And his formula is basically find a product in a market that has got demands, kind of doing that, and then
Yep.
kind of just kind of make yourself that premium product. So he spends a bit of focus on kind of the packaging and making the whole unboxing experience that extra bit special for his
Yeah.
customers. And I was thinking that's quite an interesting angle to it, especially if we are charging that premium price. Obviously, we had Scott on the podcast before, and he was doing, very much, quite cheap. If the product isn't suitable for their user, they're less likely to complain because it's kind of like at a price point where they're less likely to be too bothered about it. And they're that cheap as a product for him that he could probably ship out an additional one to kind of give the person a peace of mind. So for us, we're coming at a different angle, slightly different angle, and for us to start shipping as it arrives in a plastic bag, I'm assuming is what they will arrive in.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of like I've got my reservations about doing that, and maybe a bit more thought about the packaging and that side would work. But at the same time, I realize it's just all about proving that our point here is just to prove that we can get those sales. They might not sell, but we'll find other routes to market for that through like what we started talking about local businesses we could approach, maybe do a wholesale deal sort of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I was
great.
thinking, Jimmy. Have you thought a bit more about that article or tweet that I shared?
So it's actually really funny you brought that up. So the supplier that we're actually going through, who I've been in contact with, actually asked me this question. Okay, so he actually provides two options. He does like sort of this wrap where you can ask for him to put your logo onto it, so we can like it's like tissue paper almost sort of style, and you can get our logo printed onto it and like a sticker that matches it. Okay, or you can get a box, and get it sort of sent across in these boxes and stuff. But my big issue with the sort of that side of things is, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, you get a box, okay. If every single one of these is going in a box, okay, say it doesn't package it like the actual box them up ready for us and sent across like that, the amount of space that takes up and the shipping cost it's going to get to take this, instead of a small one box, it's going to cost us double, to get it across because it's maybe two boxes, and that's going to increase the cost. So my thought process on it was to get it started. I think we obviously want to try and keep that premium look. We do want to have that aspect, and I think it's quite interesting you've thought about it as well. But for me, I think the key thing for us is these 30 products is just test. They're not a set in stone. They're not. They're learning curves for us. So I think at first, if we can get, like as I say, the nice tissue paper with maybe our logo on it, and have it wrapped like that, so then they open up, it is maybe a little bit nicer to open. But apart from that, I don't think we should be stressing about that at the moment, as we've not even proven the concept of will this product be sold. Will people buy it? Because they're not buying it for the packaging at the moment; they're buying it for the item. So my key thing is let's just obviously continue with where we're at. Let's get the product here first. And then even if we come up with something, say we're like, we could let you go into Asda, you could go into Tesco's, you could go into any of these shops and be like, Jake, Greg, I found this box, it costs 50p, wee bit of tissue paper, wee bit nice that make a difference. Why don't we do this for every box? I'll buy 10 of them. And it just obviously adds on to our current cost, but it gives us that starting point where we can obviously then, advance from there. Buying stickers with our logo on it, that side of things, so we can sticker everything up. Almost like, when you get a wine bottle, some of these independent people, they'll get their own wee label made and they'll hand stick it on, things like that. So,
Yeah,
yeah, but no, I think it's quite interesting. Uh, we'll get there. I think we'll get there. I think we will add that aspect, and it will be something we'll think about. But once we've sold the first few, and we'll go, okay, people want this. We've sold 3 in 3 days. Okay, well, if we continue at this rate, we're going to be running out quite quickly, aren't we? You
yeah,
know.
it's true. Very true.
Um, so obviously,
Cool.
with that, we spoke to Calum sort of a week ago, obviously about the product, and obviously letting him insight to what's been going on, and invited him to our Notion page. He kind of reached out this week to you, Gregor. Can you give sort of a bit more insight to what actually happened and what has Calum actually said on this? So, obviously, Calum's our older brother. He's on the other side of the world for you guys. If you're just listening to this episode, he is not exactly involved in the role in terms of um, taking part in everything of the decision making. But Calum is someone that hopefully, if the product launches well with us and we can prove that it sells, Calum will be our Australian branch. Basically, we will set up a similar website for Australia, and Calum will get the product shipped to himself, and we'll be selling it exactly sort of similar way as we do in the UK, but out in Australia. That's the sort of end goal of what we're hoping to go for, so we can create an income stream for all three of us. But Gregor, what did he say?
Exactly. I mean, he called me midweek last week, and he was like, "Right, so what are you doing with this dog business thing?" And I was like, "Well, we've got this is like we've got Notion page set up. We've got the things there. This is where we're managing all the elements the details that we need to gather: product, marketing, sales, finance, website. Everything stored there." He's like, "Right, okay, well." I've got a name for my version of it. And he came, I can't remember the name, but he's come up with a name, and he's like, okay. And I said, what else are you doing with it? And he's like, well, I'm going to get a website. I've been speaking to his colleague who has a um, website that supplier that he knows that he can just basically kind of no code platform or low code platform that he can plug in his financials to it, and then he just
Yeah.
manages basically it's open source software basically that allows him to create websites. But he's had to register the business in Australia as a name to enable him to buy the domain. So he's done that, and he's just kind of like, I need the money for buying product. Like, fair enough, I can send that across to you. And I kind of just said like, so what your plans kind of next? And he's like, well, I need the money to move on and buy stuff and create a website. I'm like, well, does the website allow you to actually create a template and share it with us before you even pay for anything?
Yeah.
And he's looking at a kind of hosting $15 a month. Australian dollars or something like that, and then he's looking at $20 for the domain that he's paid for already. So yeah, he's kind of like costing things up, and I think he's just kind of keen to start doing something with us as well, with the idea, which is all good. And then I've asked him to basically just let us know what you're doing on Notion, just so we can keep it all together and understand
Yeah.
what's outlining and where you're at, because we can align together on that. But he's basically just put source website, design website, and that's kind of it on his front. Which
This
it's good
I
that
was
he's
gonna say
wanting
this is
like
interesting.
get keen to start doing things, but at the same time, it's like um, I think he's just waiting for the money, which I now have as it settles because we
Yeah.
had it invested in the stock market. So we had it invested in the S&P 500, and it's up £30. So I'll be sending that across to Calum. I thought about sending him just what he needs,
Yeah.
but I thought just to be fair, like give him the full amount because it's what he's
Okay.
due. So yeah,
Have you so is have you sent the money yet?
I haven't sent it yet. I was planning on doing it later today.
Okay, so I would argue that he shouldn't get all of it. Okay, purely on the fact that the money that we were given from Dad, and let's just bring it all back to the square one. This is my sort of point of view on this. Square one is this was something that is a challenge for all three of us,
Yeah,
and Dad's not gone to us and gone, I want you to go do your own thing and start selling stuff. Callum's not shown us anything. Callum has not came to me or you with the website, what his name is. You've maybe spoke to him, but he's not came to both of us with his plan, his actions, what he's doing, and what the steps he's going to make sure that £1,000 is spent wisely and effectively. Okay, Callum has not done business or a marketing degree, so he's not got that side of the knowledge to maybe um, do the things that are necessary when it comes to the marketing. So my worry with that is Callum gets this website, spends £500 or £300-400 on getting products to him, starts posting websites, spends a load of that on advertising, and then blows his £1,000. Okay, and before you know it, he's coming to us going, "Guys, I need some more of the money to try and get some sales. Like I've made say maybe sold half his stock, but he's not made enough money back to reinvest or anything like that." Okay, so Callum's up shit creek at this point. To be honest, he'll be coming to us going, "What help? I need this, I need that," and I'll go, "Hold on a minute, this is a team of three, we're a business of three. And if he's copying our idea, if he's copying what we've come up with and the time we've put into it and going to go into our notion, I think it's unfair for him to just go and be given £1,000 straight off the bat to get into this. So I think what I would like is Callum to come to us and join us for a podcast. Like we need to get him on and just share his ideas, share where he's at. Because if Callum can come to me, like what we've done with the supplier, the research, the steps we're taking, the website. We've got quite a solid plan going forward, and I think Cal needs to do the same with us, so then I can understand the
yeah. I
value
mean,
that he's put in. So I
I see.
disagree. I don't think you should send the money. It's like I could have 3 weeks ago. I could have ordered a product. If I had the money in my bank account, I would have just ordered the product, but I didn't because you had the money and you're the analytical one in the three of us to make the right decision to actually hold off. Right, there's times when it's not so good, but there's times when it is good. And I think we've done the right thing holding off. We're now going to buy the right product.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I'd agree with you on those points. Like, we don't want Callum to go off and blow all the money. I agree with you that he hasn't necessarily written up all his details. I asked him to basically to share his plans, so you don't really know if he has a plan. He's just kind of taking details
Well,
from us and going, okay, you're creating a website, you've got the product. Okay, I know what I'm going to do from now on is basically just create a website and you know what product it's going to end up selling. And I'm like,
yep.
that's good. Like he doesn't need to do all the research in the world because we've kind of done that with better product. We'd kind of gone down the route of
Yeah,
his dog collar product. Um, he's just going to kind of almost piggyback on the back of that, which I think, if he's got the motivation to go out there and make something, create something, and use what we've done so far, I'm kind of like for that to like, maybe that's just what I needed, like a bit of guidance on that front. And we've done the work of, I say it's done work,
Yeah,
but might not work, but we've done that side of it. So we can just kind of go, okay, I'm just going to do this product and just try and
yeah,
sell it. So we've done that side of it. He doesn't need to go and do research for himself. Maybe the market, he could do a bit of research and figure out what he's going to do, where he's going to sell it. But he's thinking just do he's going to do social online ads, create some content online, and go from there. Which I'm like, it'd be interesting to see what he does with the money. So my side of it was, I agree, he needs to not spend the money because he was like basically saying, I don't want you to spend the money right away paying for like a website plan when you don't have any product. And he's like, well, what's the point in that when I can actually just start promoting it, and once I get the product, I can get the sales. And it's this it's kind of like this chicken or the egg kind of problem where he needs to market it, but also he needs to create the product. So there's lead times for all those sides of the things. But think how long it's taken us to figure that out, or you to Cam's busy, and it's kind of with time zones and figuring things out. It's hard for him to maybe have the same cadence as us to kind of do updates. The
yeah,
other side of it is, which does make me think, is we should probably do a lot of like asynchronous planning and meeting. Like we're kind of bad at that, where it's like it doesn't matter. We don't need to be in the same call at the same time, but going by our notes, our voice notes, or even like a Loom video, we know
yeah,
what we're up to. That could be an
yeah,
approach that we move forward with, and yeah, just for time zone issues, that might be a good option. But
yeah.
we can discuss message Calum about that, which we haven't done, which is another key part of it. Is like, why
Yeah.
have we not done that on our end?
True.
So yeah, it takes time and stuff, and we'll get there. But I think obviously this week, Jamie, plans this week. What are we thinking?
Well, first of all, I just to continue in the topic there, I think you should hold off. I still think I don't know if you still plan. Are you going to send him the money then?
For me, what's the issue with sending the money?
Um, he goes and just buys what he thinks and does exactly what he thinks when I would just like a chat with him. I would just want to know. I think I'll reach out to him first before he does anything. Before you send any money, I'm gonna reach out to him and be like, just like, Cam, talk me through what you're doing, because like I spoke to Gregor, but I've not heard anything. Do you know what I mean Cam can go on our Notion and see exactly what we're up to? I just want to know, and then once
You
I
know,
know
you
what
know,
he's up
you
to,
know exactly what his answer is going to be. You know what already? It's going
true,
to be like, oh, I've got a website. It's my plan. I'm going to copy what you guys are doing, right? What needs to happen is basically be like, Callum, where's your stuff on Notion? Like, where's your product supplier? Where's your marketing? What you're doing on that? Because I want to see it. That's what needs to happen, rather than like him trying to whiffle off his way on a call that you catch him off
yeah,
guard with. So you need to give him. You basically need to message him, give him like a week or something. Be like, look, this is what me and Gregor have got on Notion.
yeah,
Look at that. Look at the pages. This is where you can find that detail. Especially look at the product sourcing. This is what we've come up with, and I've got quotes of X, Y, Z. You can find it here, and then he can come back and be like, "All right, okay," because I think he is getting to that stage where he's interested. But it's what do we want out of what can we share with him to help him? That's the point. We're not getting at like,
yeah,
and I doubt if I send the money today, maybe he goes and spends money on like a £15 a month plan, and he's obviously takes the money for the domain that he's bought. Like,
yeah,
fine. But at the same point is I guess, it's like I told him not to do that, and I don't want him to do it until he creates a website and shares it with us so we can like, oh, is this in line with,
yeah.
like, he needs a second opinion on it, and we could help him with
But,
that.
but the other thing is you have to consider that Callum's got Jen's partner who has done web development. Okay, so
Exactly, yeah.
is Jen going to go step in to help? Okay, and if Jen is going to step in to help, I would question that. Not question. I would actually ask, be like, oh, if Jen's really good at that, why don't we help? Why don't we use that resource? Do you mean we're not web developers? I'm not a web developer. If we can outsource that to get an external source to help us out to make a website that looks good and piggyback off that,
Yeah.
there's no reason why we shouldn't. If it's going to speed up our process and make it look better, because
Yeah.
we're going to get someone that's done a qualification in that realm, why not?
Yeah, that's very
So
true. That's a really good
I
point.
think the key thing for me is there needs to be a discussion before the step forward. But that's where I think we're sort of at with that.
I think we find it hard to be on Messenger is what we're using to chat between, but it's like I wish on Messenger we could create like a group chat between us, but it's just that focus on those things
Yeah,
rather than like because obviously we just end up filtering into like normal family chat.
yeah, true. So
Yeah,
okay,
cool. Well, if you want to reach out to Callum, that'd be really good.
yeah, I will do. I'll reach out to Calum.
Cool, 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 cool.
What else
Well,
were you going to say, Chris? Or you? I cut you off when you asked. Turned it over, and then I came back in, and you were going to ask me something. Do you remember?
well, I did roughly. It was more like, what's your plan for next this week, effectively.
Okay. So, with this week, I've got a quite busy sort of schedule. So, with this and the business, we'll be ordering the product. So, final quote, get the money from yourself, Gregor. Or, to
Mm-hmm.
be honest, you've got access to Alibaba. So, if you even want to pay for it, you can do it through that. We'll figure that out. But when we get to it, order that. Once I've ordered that, I would quite like to get into. So, I'll get into the social media accounts, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And even just, to be honest, even just maybe start using like Canva, to see if I can get like photos and create like small promotional pages, or even just like have things ready to post. Create maybe a wee folder of stuff, of like adverts or campaigns. Just try and figure some stuff out.
So yeah,
That's what I'm kind of looking for, I think.
that's a really good idea. I've saved in. I'm referencing it all the time now, but if you go into our one of our pages, I've got a list of brands that are in the space, and I've
Yeah,
split it down to like people that sell dog accessories, pet tracking, and nutrition, and they're
yeah,
all focused on dogs. And there's a list of maybe 30 different brands there, and they're all kind of based UK in the
yeah.
UK. Sorry. So if you're looking for like ideas on how to, what could you do post wise, dive into that because it's quite a good resource.
Exactly. So I think that's what I'll probably try to do this week. I'm trying to spend a bit of time on that, and that's where I'll sort of focus on for this coming week. What about yourself, Gregor?
Sweet. Last week I helped set up the email forwarding for our inbox, which is actually worth mentioning because it's a free tool that I found from Twitter that allows you to basically, you can buy like a professional email inbox, but this
Yep.
one just kind of like forwards based off the domain that you have to a Gmail inbox that you set up with the same email address. And you basically just use it as a free inbox instead of spending. I don't know it's not gonna be a lot for these inboxes, like what £3 a month is what some of these businesses sell. But if you get it for free, it's £3 that's used elsewhere. So I can maybe share that in our description of podcast for anybody interested. It's quite a cool tool. But yeah, for this week, I'll be setting up the rest of the social media accounts, probably helping you out with the quotes once you get that through. And same again, it's just a case of the branding logo wise, but get something up that's there. And then if we want to make minor tweaks to it later on, we can do that. But I think you're right. Like if we work on the post for the first month or whatever,
Yep.
and then give us like a time scale of when we think like we could manage our costs for that time scale, and then take it from there.
Yeah. I think there's an aspect of like reaching out. So like obviously we found some websites that are selling similar product, or if not the same product, they've obviously bought it from the same people. They've obviously got photos on their website. There's an aspect of reaching out and seeing if we can obviously share sort of photos and stuff like that, or finding out how they've done it, or even buying a product. And I've got doggy daycare service that I do in Aberdeen, and going out to the owners and being like, "Is it okay if I borrow your dog to get some photos and stuff and things like that?" So, um,
Yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of stuff to sort of get it through in terms of the marketing inside of the business. But I think obviously we're going down that direction now that we've got things set up, and it's just going to be making the move now to the marketing. So then when the products arrive, we're firing out stuff ready to go and got a campaign to go off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So perfect.
Nice.
One thing there. What are you doing this week that's exciting outside of the business?
Outside of the business
Outside of the business.
this week, that's a good question. I am, I am maybe going to go a cycle if that's exciting to anyone.
Well, do you know
Um,
what's funny? The one thing I was going to say is I'm going to try and go a run. I'm going to try and run 3 times this week. Um, I've still yet to do it. I still need to sign myself up for the hour half.
mhm.
But I'm wanting to do the hour half marathon next year. And I said to myself, I bought myself a set of scales today to try and keep a track of my weight. So then I can obviously then monitor the progression I'm making, hopefully, with that as well.
Wow, going all out.
Yeah, need to.
I'm proud of you. That's good. That's really
So,
good. Um, Sounds good. And what we'll do is we'll wrap up there, and we'll get a great update for next week. Actually, there's a few exciting things coming along. So, not even relating to this entrepreneurial thing that we're trying
journey.
to do. So, yeah, stay tuned for that.